Mission Constantine is a gamification project. I'm a pastor and teacher, and every year I teach many children and young people. My primary focus is on helping them in their personal walk with Jesus Christ. I hope that my time together with them and the teaching I share with them will establish them in their faith in Jesus as their God and Savior. That is my focus, and it is because I have this focus that I spend a lot of time on educational innovation. It is because of my focus that I have created a project that is motivational and engaging and uses the well-known, tried and tested mechanics from games. After the project was published, it gained the attention of national news media and has been featured in newspapers, podcasts, radio, and television. Now, basically, Mission Constantine uses game mechanics to turn Christian teaching and education into missions, expeditions, and side expeditions. In Mission Constantine, the students are divided into tribes, and they compete against each other. They earn XP, and they can choose to spend it or save it for later. What you see here is a diagram of a complete year of gamified teaching. This is basically the diagram of Mission Constantine. And it may look unmanageable, but when we zoom in, you can see that it consists of consecutive sections. The foundation of it all is a story, a narrative. In Mission Constantine, it is the story of the Roman Emperor Constantine. This story controls when the students are presented with each subject of the annual plan and curriculum. You'll see that the story also develops. You can see the white broken lines. This is where the story develops and sends the students and your teaching in a new direction. The great thing about the story of Constantine is that in itself it contains an exploration of what Christianity is. And it contains something equally important. It contains a series of defining events and important dates. So the teaching of game begins in the year AD 306, when Constantine becomes emperor. A couple of weeks later, we move to the year AD 312, where Constantine sees a vision of Christ's cross. Later, we move to AD 325, when Constantine convened the First Council of Nicaea. And at this time, the students are introduced to God as a Trinity and the Nicene Creed. Now let's watch the video that I show my students at the beginning of the course, and you'll see in what way Mission Constantine is based on a story. Soldiers dressed in heavy and colorful armor storm off to occupy more and more territories. With swords, spears, catapults, and other weapons, they subjugate the world. These soldiers are Roman, and the empire they are fighting to expand is the Roman Empire. The ruler over the entire Roman Empire is called the Emperor. And he does more than rule. He is also worshipped as a god. People of other faiths, all who believe in other gods, are either killed, turned into slaves, or forced to bow down and worship the Roman Emperor. These are trying times for the Christians. It is very dangerous to openly confess that there is only one God, and that this God became man, lived among us, died on a cross, and rose from the grave. So the Christians live in hiding, on the run. They hide in the catacombs. The year is AD 306, and a new emperor is crowned. His name is Constantine. And he too is worshipped as a god. But Constantine is facing a very difficult situation. His mother, named Helen, has become a Christian. Now Constantine's very first thought is to ban Christianity and imprison all Christians. But for his mother Helen's sake, he promises that he will first send out groups of soldiers called tribes to travel around and examine the Christians and their movement. You are Emperor Constantine's spies, his tribes. You have been given the task to spy on and investigate Christianity the coming months. For the sake of the Roman Empire, for the emperor's sake, for Helen's sake, for the sake of all Christians. Now get ready in your tribes to go on missions for the emperor. The students are now Constantine's spies. They are sent on missions and expeditions where they discover and examine aspects of the Christian faith. And I spent several weeks going through my old annual plan and curriculum, and it takes time to reshape it into missions and expeditions. It takes time to take apart an existing material and give it a new shape. Now, after going through it all, I found that it could be shaped into 6 missions. Mission 1 is about the Bible. This is always the first theme of my teaching. I want them to know the Bible. I want them to learn how to read it. And the task here, when gamifying a curriculum, is to find a way to link this teaching to the story about Constantine. So in Mission Constantine, you tell your students that Constantine lived many years after Jesus, and he wants to know more about him. But how? The first thing he must do is to go to the source that tells about Jesus, the Bible. And this is how teachings about the Bible is linked to the story about Constantine. Mission 2 is about the first pages in the Bible. I call this mission the meaning of life, and it consists of teachings and expeditions about the creation, about being made in the image of God, and about the tasks God gave mankind. Mission 3 is about having a relationship with God. And it's about the fact that God relates to us in a specific way. This mission is called Fellowship with God, and it centers on what the Bible teaches us about covenants. How God has chosen to relate to us in a specific way by making covenants with us. Mission 4 is about God's plan of salvation. This mission is not about Christmas. The birth of Christ is introduced in Mission 5. Instead, Mission 4 focuses on God's eternal plan of salvation. How God's plan of salvation has been in place since the very beginning. And during this mission, we talk about sin and how all are born in sin. We also discuss how difficult it can be to decide if something is evil or not. And it is also during Mission 4 that I give the students a quick tour of the whole Old Testament. Mission 5 is about Jesus. The previous mission was called God's Plan of Salvation, and Mission 5 is called The Savior. So this mission is obviously about Jesus, and we begin with Christmas. We look at why God became human and why God waited so many years before he became human. After that, we look at some of the parables of Jesus. And finally, we focus on the crucial question: why did Jesus have to die? After that follows a somewhat different Mission 6. The story is still the same, but it takes a drastic turn now. Mission 5 ends with the spies giving their final report to Emperor Constantine, and everything goes well, since in the meantime, Constantine has become a Christian. And so we are ready for Mission 6. Now that Constantine has become a Christian, this last mission focuses on helping him plant and build new churches. And he gives his spies a new task. They must travel to Constantinople to help the Christians there build new churches. And so Mission 6 is all about what life is like in the church. It's about life, it's about sacrificial love, it's about baptism, confirmation, it's about death and funerals, and so on. The last thing I want to mention is the AD 312 worship service. As part of Mission 3, I recommend that you try to prepare an AD 312 worship service together with your students. Constantine wants to attend a worship service, and so we prepare one and try to make it as similar to what they did in 312. Now, what do you get when you buy Mission Constantine? You do not get a complete manuscript that tells you exactly what to teach minute by minute. There are plenty of holes in Mission Constantine for you to insert your own tried and tested teaching. So now on to what you do get when you buy Mission Constantine. First of all, you get a completely gamified Christian course. You get 8 to 10 months worth of teaching, themes, worksheets, PowerPoints, posters, and an annual plan. First and foremost, you get a manual and an annual plan. The manual helps you understand the basics of Mission Constantine and its story, and it introduces you to all the available tools in the package. It also describes how you can use the attached annual plan to structure your course and insert dates in the calendar. The annual plan is as complete as possible, still leaving plenty of the holes and slots I mentioned before to insert your own teaching. The annual plan is divided into 6 missions, and for each lesson there are references to the PowerPoint files and worksheets that are part of the package. Your job is to add dates and to decide if you want to fill the holes with your own teaching or use it as it is. There are 3 videos included. I made these to tell the students 3 of the most important chapters of the story. You saw the first video just before. The second video presents the important changes that happened after Constantine saw the vision of the cross. And the third video presents the final Mission 6. I have also included the PowerPoint files and worksheets I mentioned before. You are free to edit the PowerPoint files, especially if you want to add your own teaching. There's a selection of ready-made posters. These posters include the scoreboard, where you keep track of each tribe's XP and levels, and the overview of available shop items. Finally, there are 2 folders with bonus cards and event cards. If you decide to have a shop where the students can buy items with their XP, it's important that you decide what items they can buy. In the version that I have included, I let them buy bonus cards, and these cards give them all kinds of advantages. I also use event cards. I let a random student choose an event card at the beginning of each lesson, and the content of that card changes a part of the game. You can read more about Mission Constantine here on the website, and you can also click in the menu on the shop and buy the full package. Thank you.